Have you ever had this feeling that your life is moving, but there is this quiet confusion about the direction of your life? You may be studying, working hard, and giving your best in life, but there is this feeling that says, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I on the right path? If that is you, I want you to know you are not alone. Many young people experience this, and this is not a character flaw, it is actually a sign. And in this episode, I want to show you what this sign means and what to do about it so that you can start gaining clarity and direction for your life. Welcome to the Life Podcast. I am your host, Isaac Gyau. Let's begin. Before I start giving answers, I want to further describe this confusion many of us experience. You wake up in the morning and the first feeling is not that of peace, but there's this quiet, persistent weight, something you cannot name, a feeling that something is not right, not about your day, but about your whole life's direction. The feeling that says, am I on the right path? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my life? You can be going about with your day's activities, job, business, or some other family obligations. But behind it is this quiet confusion. You sometimes even pray, but there's this deep silence you keep experiencing. Answers to your prayers don't come quicker as you expected. To even make it worse, you see others who seem to know what they are doing with their life, full of purpose, direction, and energy. And you are wondering, what is wrong with you? You ask yourself, what do they have that you don't have? And you sometimes feel behind. If what I just described sounds familiar to you, I want you to know you are confused. And confusion, if not understood and addressed early, becomes a long-term problem. You stop moving from I am confused to accepting confusion as your identity. You stop looking for the door out of that confusion and you start arranging chairs in that room, accepting it as your permanent state. Confusion not addressed in your 20s becomes a quiet expression in your mid-30s and a great regret in your 50s. It is more serious than we think. There is a personal cost in living a life of confusion. It becomes very concerning and a big challenge when a person spends years in the wrong direction. When a person spends years and sometimes decades in the wrong job, wrong career, on wrong priorities, it becomes problematic. Every year of confusion compounds to years of misalignment. You keep moving further from this person you were made to be and to do. And more than that, there is a national consequence when people walk in confusion. So confusion goes beyond personal cost or personal loss. It leads to national loss. There's always a gap in national development when a citizen is working in confusion and not doing what he's supposed to do with his life to contribute to the development of the country. A leader who is supposed to be in governance and make an impact in the nation can find himself in the wrong career. A teacher who is supposed to be transforming lives in classrooms can find himself also in the wrong job or the wrong career. An innovator can be paralyzed in uncertainty rather than building with his life. When people live in confusion, the writer never writes his books. The businessman never built that business. The gospel minister never built that ministry. And it goes far to affect many lives and the nation as a whole. And to even add one thing to the personal cost of living in confusion. Sometimes a person might discover who he is and start living the life he was supposed to live, probably in their mid-40s or their 50s. It is a good news that he finally discovered who he is and started doing what he was supposed to be doing. But there is some form of regret of spending years living the life that you were not supposed to be living. What is the cause of all this confusion? I want us to have a look at it. First, we were never taught who we are. I want you to think about your educational journey from primary to university. I want to ask you an honest question. Were you taught about who you are, about your gifts, about the things that brings life to you, about the problems you feel concerned to bring a solution to, about the unique contribution you can make to society and even the nation as a whole? We are never taught this in school. We are taught about how to read, how to write, how to analyze information. We are equipped with skills that prepares us for jobs and careers, but we are never taught about ourselves. We are taught mathematics and science, but we are never taught who we are. And the end result, we end up being educated but unformed, certified but unknown to ourselves. And we are released into society and the world to make the most important decisions of our life without having the basic knowledge of who we are. But self-knowledge is the basic information or tool we need to navigate life and to make the most important decisions. It affects almost every area of our life. In choosing the right path, in choosing the right course to study, in choosing the right career, in choosing who to marry. But unfortunately, many of us have no knowledge about who we are. And there comes comparison as a second cause to living a confused life. When you don't know who you are tempted to use external factors and what you see outside to define who you are. Most people end up defining who they are based on what they see on social media or on what others are doing. Social media itself is not bad. It is a tool, and how you use it determine whether it is a good tool or not. When a person who doesn't know himself sees the lives of people on social media, people's achievements, people's accomplishments, he is tempted to do the same, copying the lives of others. You see, social media promises to solve the identity and the confusion problem, but it is not able to do that. It rather worsens it. This is what I mean. This is because social media doesn't show you who you are. It shows you you are not this person. You are not living the kind of life this person is living. This person is doing great things. You are left behind. So you start comparing yourselves with others. And sometimes you feel depressed. You start doing what others are doing. And with time, you begin to drift. You begin to gradually move unconsciously from the person you are to the person you are not. By the time you realize, you will have moved far from the life God called you to live. And there's one dangerous thing this does to us. The voices, the trends we keep seeing on social media with time disconnect us from the original voice God placed in us. The voice that was meant to guide us on the right path is with time silenced. And then comes another cause which most of us may seem familiar with. There is a script or a plan that is handed over to us to follow even before we grow old enough to start making our own decisions or start owning our own life. And in Ghana, The script reads like this: go to school, get the right skills or knowledge, get a job, preferably a government one that pays good salary, marry, build a house. That is the standard script that has been given to us by society. Let me say this before we continue. There is nothing wrong with all those things I made mention. There is nothing wrong with a parent wanting the best things for his children. And there's also nothing wrong when society encourages and inspires people for greater accomplishments. Here is the danger in it. We follow it without reference to the God who made us and without reference to who he made us to be and to do. This script is like a generic standard for success in society, and it doesn't take into consideration the original and specific script God wrote for you before the foundations of this earth. It doesn't take into consideration your gift, your talent, your passion, your deep interest, the problems you feel concerned to solve, and the kind of contribution you want to make with your life. And many people spend years passing this script, looking successful on the outside, getting the approval of people, of family members, of society, but feeling lost inside, feeling empty inside. Because that script, it was never meant for them. Many people end up being in jobs and careers they have no passion for, struggling in those careers or jobs for years. Not that they failed the script, but that it was not meant for them. The script ended up becoming a cage, approved by society, celebrated by many, but still a cage. And then comes the most painful and practical cause of all that I have made mention: survivor pressure. When you have family obligations, immediate pressing needs, financial needs, or challenges, stopping to think and asking questions about who you are, about your purpose, about your gifts, and what to do with your life almost feels irresponsible. The pressure is indeed real. From paying bills, paying the fees of children, supporting family, paying the fees of cousins, combined with other pressing needs, comes with a lot of pressure. But I want to name something important here. The survivor pressure comes from two things. The first is the genuine lack of resources or even money to take care of ourselves. But there is a second one, where survivor pressure becomes a mindset, a thinking, and a way of living. Let me explain it further. This is where our immediate needs tend to push away all the most important things of our life. We tend to direct all our energy and our focus on these immediate needs, totally ignoring important things like our purpose, who we are, and what God made us to be and to do with our lives. So some people say things like, let me first get a job, let me first get married. But this is what we need to know. Those pressing needs and life challenges never come to an end. Life will keep bringing to us pressing needs and challenges. The needs never come to an end. The challenges never come to an end too. There will always be a fire you need to quench. So if you wait to solve all your problems before asking questions about your purpose, your calling, you may end up spending all your life. Life will keep presenting us with needs and challenges. So what is the way forward? Balance. While attending to your immediate pressing needs, while solving your challenges, also make time to discover yourself. Make time to know who you are, your purpose, your calling. Because if you fail to do that, there'll be something more painful than the pain of survival pressure. That is the pain of living all your life, not doing the very thing God called you to do. And that will lead to a life of regret. And now the last cause of confusion is religious activities. And I want to say this with caution and with much love, not from the point of criticism. We live in a country that has so many church activities every week. Prayer meetings, vigils, conferences, and so on. But it seems after all these spiritual activities, most people still feel confused about their life. I believe spiritual activities should rather be the place of self-discovery and fulfillment. But why are there so many spiritual activities and more confusion? This is because there is a type of spiritual activity that is only a performance, that has no relationship with God. The type of spiritual activity that helps a person to discover himself is not that of performance, but a personal relationship with God. So you can be going to all the prayer meetings, all the church meetings, all the conferences, and also have a personal, deep relationship with God. Many people are very busy with a lot of spiritual activities, but never spend time in God's presence alone. They never ask God the right questions that will lead to discovering themselves. Most never pause to listen to what God is saying to them. And that's one of the reasons why many are confused. You see, we are dealing with a God who holds the total blueprint of our life, our destiny. So how can you have a relationship with God and not know who you are and what He made you to be and to do? With all that I have said, let me tell you this. Your current confusion is not your conclusion. It is not permanent. The confusion is only a sign that you've been looking for yourself at the wrong place. Some people are looking for themselves in their qualifications, in their certificates, in people's opinion, in people's expectations, in jobs, in money. Some people say, if I get that job, if I get that money, everything will be okay. If I get that certificate, that will be okay. Everything will be okay. But that is not true. The reason why you are confused is that you are trying to find meaning and trying to discover yourself from those places. You were actually made to find yourself in God, the one who made you, who knows everything concerning your life. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, the scripture says, before I formed thee, I knew you. Before you became a clot of blood in your mother's womb, I set you apart to be a prophet to the nations. That means before you were born, God had something in mind, a specific thing He had in mind for you to accomplish here on it. And He is the best person to help you know it. And I want you to know that your current confusion doesn't cancel God's purpose for your life. Now, because I don't want this episode to be just an inspiration, I want to give you one practical thing to do this week, which can help you start gaining clarity for your life. I want you to commit 30 minutes each day this week for this specific task. Find a quiet place, preferably in the morning. Get a notebook and a pen by yourself. No music, no noise. Just you, God, and silence. And I want you to quietly pray and ask God one specific question. Not a question about what business to do, about what job to go for, or even about marriage. Ask this question: God, what did you make me to be? Then pause and listen. Pay attention to the thoughts, ideas, and the impressions that come upon your mind. The memories of your childhood, the memories of things that made you alive, or even now the things that makes you alive. Pay attention to your gift or your talent, your passion, or the things you love doing so much. The things you love doing so much that you don't even recognize the passage of time. Write these things down. The one problem in society that you feel concerned to solve. That one contribution you want to make with your life. The dreams that never leave you. They don't have to be complete. They don't have to be perfect. Don't ignore it because it looks too big for you. Write it down. And don't edit it immediately. Just do that for the second day, the third day, to the last day of the week. Minimum 3 days in a week. And at the end of the week, take that paper or book and read the things you wrote louder to yourself. And you begin to say things that was not visible at first. You begin to see patterns and some consistencies in what you have written down. A clarity beginning to emerge and a direction beginning to form. And that is the beginning of the clarity you've been looking for all this while. And with time, it's going to become clearer and clearer as you do this. So as I bring this episode to an end, just know that your confusion is not your conclusion. It doesn't cancel whatever God put inside you. It doesn't cancel your purpose. Your purpose is still alive. You only need to know it and start pursuing it. No mistake or past history of yours has cancelled your purpose. It is still intact. The problem has always been you looking for yourself at the wrong place, in the jobs, in the certificates, in people's opinion and expectations. But that is the wrong place. You get to know your true self in God, the one who made you and carries the blueprint for your life. And before we go, I want to share a brief prayer with you. So Father, I thank you in the name of Jesus. I commit every person watching this episode into your hand. Let the confused receive clarity. Bring clarity to their minds. May every confused mind receive clarity, understanding in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you for watching this episode. If it was helpful to you, I encourage you to share with somebody and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. See you in the next episode. Light for your path, truth for the journey. Goodbye.